So good morning, everybody, and welcome once again to the 18th edition of MMR, as Kumar mentioned. It's also, thank you, Kumar, for setting that context of MMR and what exactly we have to do as far as people are concerned. So as he mentioned, I think it is a requirement to be obsessed with people. And there is no two ways about it. Because people are the ones who make the difference as far as your businesses go. You can build powerful brands. You can actually build out a large network of stores. You can outshout the competition in terms of advertising spend. You can offer the best prices in the market. But at the end of the day, when people come to either your website or when they come to your stores, it's a service that is provided, the experience that the customer leaves with, which makes the difference between a company and another company. So we all understand that the differentiation in the business, the foundation on which powerful brands are built, are on the basis of the people in the business. Whether they are in a store, whether they're in a warehouse, whether they are delivering products, whether they're in a corporate office, whether they're in a contact center, those are the people who actually help us to be able to build a business. So when we as HR professionals, and when we are looking at people at large, we have to first think of it from a commercial perspective. So think of people as an investment that you're making in the business, which is one part of it. And on the other part of it, which becomes a P&L item, is think of people as a cost line. And we have to kind of rapidly keep oscillating between the two as to how do we manage a cost and how do we make an investment. And that's a very critical part of the role that each one of us has to play to be able to help become an enabler of the business and to be able to become an effective business partner. The second thing that I wanted to just leave as a thought with you is the fact that technology has made a huge difference in the lives of our customers. And it has also similarly made a huge difference in each one of our lives. So whether we think of ourselves as individuals or we think of ourselves as business leaders, what we know today is that over the last 3 to 5 years, there have been several ways in which technology has made an impact on our businesses. So when we think of the way technology has impacted our business, we also have to think of how technology is impacting the people function. So when you think of actually an employee, right from the time of joining the company, how do you make sure that the entire process of being able to identify these employees and to be able to make sure that the process of estimating your requirements and getting on somebody on board is kind of coordinated? How do we ensure that their onboarding process, their engagement, as Kumar mentioned, their continuous learning within the organization, the entire management of the relationship with the organization, whatever you call it, HRMS or whatever else. But what we know today is that technology plays a very, very important role, and we have the opportunity to be able to recognize this, adopt it, and implement it in the organizations that we have. The third is about the fact that as we grow larger as a country, as we also start absorbing and imbibing greater values, we need to ensure that we respect diversity, we respect equity and inclusion. So as we build out our organizations, as we look at people, we also have to understand that we have to work with those who are less privileged and try and figure out how do we then include them in the larger growth story? Our requirement of people is very large. So even if you were to look at an organization, say 5,000-6,000 crores in terms of revenue, and if you estimate that it will grow maybe 5% in a year, you're talking about 300 crores. And if we talk about 300 crores, immediately what comes to mind, if you run a physical retail business, is that you will need 600 people to even grow that 300 crores, which is just your business. And imagine when you expand and you grow another 300 crores through expansion, and this could be like-for-like growth, then you need another 600 people. And when you look at the larger industry in India, which is close to $1 trillion in terms of size, and if you think of just matching GDP growth, our requirement of people is extremely large. We know that retail today is the second largest employer of people after agriculture, and will continue to be as long as we remain a consumer-led society. So our requirement of people is going to be extremely large. So we at RAI, we believe that there is a requirement for we and the industry to work together. The Retailers Association of India is actually created by retailers for the retail industry. And the important thing is, how do we then work together in order to make sure that we can actually identify talent across the country, that we can actually train talent, we can certify talent so that there is a level of standardization that can apply to all industries, and we can make sure that this talent is made available in line with your requirements. So you can actually dip into a pool, and into that pool you can find talent readily available of different skill levels, the numbers that you require in line with the expansion plans that you have. So there is a great opportunity for all of us to be able to work together, to be able to help build this talent pipeline within the retail industry. There is an initiative that we are looking at actually doing between Train, RAI, and RAI to be able to make sure that we can build all of this together. Because on the one hand, we have RAI, which does a lot in terms of training and certification. We have RAI, which is the body of retailers, and we have Train, which also works specifically with the specially advantaged, specially able. So I think what we need to be able to do is to work this together, because each one of you has got the most compelling requirement, which is next to money. The next requirement that you have always is people. And how do we then ensure, we can't do too much about money, but at least in terms of people, is there a way to be able to collaborate and build out the larger ecosystem? So as Kumar mentioned, I think we will have a lot of sessions during the course of the day. And during these sessions, you will get to see, meet, hear a lot of people. And in the context of hearing and seeing and listening to various people, I'm sure we will take away from this conference a lot of knowledge, ideas, etc. But most importantly, I think, how can we leave a more memorable mark in the companies that we are in and in the industry that has nurtured us is probably what you should all remember by the end of the day. So thank you and welcome to the rest of the day.